In this ACON training video, we're going to talk about curtain valances. So to start with, we'll tell you what a curtain valance actually is used for. It's used to prevent the migration of particles or air, whatever it may be, from getting into or out of an enclosure, curtain enclosure specifically. So the main curtain is here down below. This typically rolls open on roller track, so you have full access to get product or people in and out. And then above that you have the curtain valance, which is located up here. And this is attached at the roof deck. So it goes like this, and it's connected very tightly to the top, which we'll talk about later. The material is actually the exact same material as the curtain below it, and it's static in position. So you have the top valance, which is static, and then you have the bottom curtain, which is operable, which you can move side to side. So typically a curtain is installed like we see here. So you have your main curtains, and then above it, you have free open air. So these are great for welding, just forming work zones. But when you have to control the environment, either inside or out of the enclosure, then a curtain valance is ideal to seal that space up. So if we go down here, the benefits, kind of what we've already touched on, allows you to maintain allows the main curtain to open and close, and it controls migration of dust and spray, helps to maintain a stable, clean environment inside and out, wherever the debris is coming from. And as far as determining the curtain valance height, a pretty typical installation would include a facility or a factory where you have purlins and joists, kind of like you see, which is indicative of this picture here. And you want to have the valance come down from the roof deck, which the roof deck would be, right here above this structure. You want to have the valance come down to span the distance of the purlin, and then come down. We like to see it 12 inches below the hardware. So you'd have this distance, and then wherever your hardware is located at, you come down 12 more inches off of that. So this would essentially be the distance of your valance. And if we go down a little farther, we can get a close-up here. So you can see we have the first point, and then let's assume our hardware is hanging down here. We'd have this distance, and then we'd have 12 inches to that. So from here to here gives us our valance. Now, of course, as I mentioned earlier, your curtain may mount with the hardware track right here below the joist. In that instance, you could use the formula of 12 inches from here and then 12 inches below that point, which would be from here to here. So it's very simple to calculate the space that you're trying to cover up. As far as installing the curtain valance, there's typically a couple different sets of hardware you can use. If you're attaching right at the joist, we'd use what's called an edge clamp, and that clamps onto the flange of the beam or purlin. And then of course you have your roller track, which the curtain rolls open, closed with. So the hardware we use is the same. The only thing that varies is the mounts. If you want to drop down, for instance, you're dropping down off of the joist, which would be coming down and then putting our hardware down here, then you'd use a threaded rod style, or you could use a chain or cable. So with threaded rod style, you would also use an edge clamp, which would clamp onto the flange. And let's assume this is an I-beam. The way the edge clamp works is it goes around it, and it has a set screw right here, and it pinches the flange. And then from there, there's a 3/8 inch L thread that goes in below that, and that comes down into this opening here, and that allows you to drop the curtain down off the mounting point. And of course you can do the same thing with chainer cables, which go into these little mounts here. So that gets the main curtain set up, and then of course the curtain valance comes down and covers all that space up that's above it. So how do you attach the valance to the roof deck? Typically what customers will use is a 2" by 2" aluminum angle, and they'll use self-tapping Tech screws, and they'll just pinch the top of this valance to the angle. So every 12 inches on the curtain there's grommets, And then you can just use these Tech screws to go into these grommets. And then of course attach the angle to the roof deck. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a static curtain, it doesn't open. So there's several different ways you can attach it. So once it's up there, obviously you can see the curtain has to be cut, because to get the curtain all the way to the roof deck, you have to cut around the obstructions, whether it be conduit, joists, purlins, whatever it may be. So you're going to have a cut that goes straight down like this, so you can tuck the curtain up to the ceiling. Now once that's cut, what we recommend people use is a company called Tear-Aid. This is a special clear patch tape. It's used specifically for vinyl, and you want to make sure you get the type V when you can repair those cuts back together with this clear patch tape. So that's the gist of putting up a curtain valance. If you have any other questions, you can contact us. We're acomcurtainanddivider.com, and our salespeople will be glad to help you out.